Well, good to see your face again. It seems like it's been forever. I hope by the end of spring ball, maybe we can do it in person. But you look at the ACC basketball tournament, what's going on there? We're not out of the woods yet, as you guys know, and it's something I've emphasized with our kids with COVID and this pandemic that seems to keep running on and on. You hear about Ohio State shutting down, Duke shutting down this week. So again, this is something. It's worse. It's still going. It's still ongoing. So, so that's a constant battle, as you guys know. We just finished our Ironworks program for the winter conditioning, which Coach Stack and his crew did a tremendous job. I think our kids made a lot of headway in there, not only strength and condition, but discipline wise. I think just some of the little things we're doing in there, our kids have loved what we're doing in that program. And again, it's that development in the weight room this time of year that's going to help us win games in November. And I think that's important. And we'll have another phase. Obviously, after spring ball, we'll get into when they get into summer term one. So we're excited about that. Obviously, spring ball been really excited. I think everybody gets excited for spring ball, okay? But this year, I think in particular, just not having it a year ago, and probably I've talked to half the guys on the team right now. 30 or 40-minute meeting with each guy on a football team. And just the development we lost. And I think about the quarterback position where Kenny was developed already, but we really couldn't find who that number 2 guy was. Then you look at some of the linemen that just lost their spring, and then you get into fall camp, and it was kind of an abbreviated fall camp. Wasn't like we wanted. The summer wasn't where we wanted it to be. Just a really odd offseason. We're hoping to have a kind of a consistent offseason program, normal offseason program as we go. So I think spring ball, if we can get our 15 days in, we're going to be a lot better football program when that ends. So spring ball's coming. Obviously, pro day next Wednesday. We're excited about our guys coming back to town. Some of them are here already, so we're excited about that. Wish you guys could be there. I believe it'll be on some type of network where you'll be able to see. If EJ and RJ were good, they'd have a big screen in there where you guys could watch it from up above. We'll see what they can do with that, but I don't think that'd be something that couldn't be done. Excited about our 2 new coaches. I mean, there's been a lot going on since the last time we talked, but 2 new coaches. The first one that we hired, and again, we're happy for Rob Hart and his exit to be a coordinator at Arkansas State. Again, it's a great opportunity for him and his family. It's something he's been wanting to do for a couple of years and finally had that opportunity. And like I said, when you have good coaches, people are going to come get them, and they got a good one in Rob Harley, and we got a great one in Ryan Manilak as well coming in, and excited about him. Again, I'm excited because I got so much time with him back when he played at Cincinnati and coached with us at Michigan State. It's been an easy transition, as easy as you're going to get at the linebacker position. That was something I was looking for. If we could get the right guy, is the smallest transition you can have, the better. So he fits right in with us defensively. And then receiver coach Brendan Marion, who again, an outstanding football coach. Excuse me. We're excited about everything he brings to the table, not only coaching but recruiting. He's really clicked with our kids coming in here. Obviously a Pittsburgh native, so there's a lot of things to like about him. And I really didn't know him coming into this whole thing. And again, I think as a coach, you keep an open mind. You heard his name early and often, and that actually turned me off. I was like, okay, I had enough of this guy. He's out. But I wasn't going to be closed-minded and looking at it like that. And I just kind of opened up and said, we're going to look for the best guy. I don't care what it is, a boy, girl, the guy that's, really pushing hard for this job, or the guy that's sitting back in his office not doing a thing. And I think we got a great coach in Brennan. So we're excited about him as well. So with that, I'll leave it up. Oh, roster wise, again, I'm sure you guys will have some questions about some of the newcomers, but talked about the strength program and just some of the new guys coming in here. They've all done a great job. You guys have had a chance on Wednesdays to sit down with a couple of those guys and pick their brains and see what they're all about. And I'm really impressed with them. And again, through COVID, we've talked about it during, I guess, signing day. But through COVID and all we went through, that the 12 guys we have on campus are exceptional kids, workers. You love what they look like, and you weren't sure what some of them would even look like. You weren't sure if they were going to be 5'10" or 6 foot, but we really, did a heck of a job recruiting those 12 guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next 12 because we don't know as much about them as you guys know. So I think when you look at the whole package of those guys, outstanding group of players. And again, you guys can ask some questions on them. And then one side note, Malik Newton, who you probably have not heard from, has been medically disqualified. So that's on the sad side of it. We've had that happen maybe 4 or 5 years ago. George Hill and Zach Gilbert it popped up again. And, I'm not going to get into what it is, but the point is, we feel bad for Malik and his family. You come mid-year to college, you think you're going to play football, and then we got some of the greatest doctors in the world here in Pittsburgh, and they find out some things that they're not going to allow him to play football at Pitt, and so he's a guy that will be with us. He's on our football team. He'll be medicaled, and we'll continue to hug him up and love him up, and make sure he gets his degree here if he chooses to stay at Pitt. So with that, I opened up for questions.
How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm interested in this concept of the super seniors, the guys who decided to come back because of the NCAA waiver. Do you feel there'll be?
I'm interested too.
Pardon me?
I said I'm interested too.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering if you feel there'll be a correlation between teams that have a lot of them, a good number of these guys, and success experience to almost be like 5 or 6 years seniors, guys who've been around for long. I know coaches like yourself like to have guys with a lot of experience. It's going to help down the road in the one-loss column, probably.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to correlate to any success, Jerry. If they were really, really, really good, they probably left for the NFL draft, correct? So I think they'll develop. They'll all develop. I'm excited they're all back. I can tell you that. And some of them will turn into NFL players for sure with another year of development. And I think you look at a Pat Jones and a DeMar Hamlin and them coming back for another year, what it did for their careers. I think they made money, and I think these 13 super seniors that we have on our football team are all good football players and are going to have an opportunity. So I wouldn't say it's going to relate to any wins. You can't say, okay, if you got 13, that counts as 13 wins. I wish it would. Obviously we got to stay healthy, and it takes a team to get that done. But we're excited to have those guys back. And you look at Kenny Pickett. I mean, that's a great super senior to have back. I mean, Phil Campbell. I mean, you can go right down the line. We've got a lot of really good players back. Jerry, I thought you were going to ask about super seniors. I'll just hit the super seniors. With the NCAA, back when this whole thing was announced, and I think you guys know this, and maybe you don't, but when this whole thing was announced back in the summer that, hey, everybody gets a free year, the NCAA, Merry Christmas, everybody's going to get another year. So now we have, super seniors, we have seniors, we have juniors, and so forth. And those don't count towards our 85 scholarship count, as you probably know. But in a year, that number could go from whatever in the 90s, okay, to 85 again, okay? So the NCAA is saying you have these super seniors, but right now there's no rule saying next year, let's just say we have 12 seniors, that they are all going to have an opportunity to be super seniors, okay? I don't think the super seniors seems like it's a 2021 deal, as ACC coaches and coaches in every Power 5 conference are working on that right now to say, hey, let's extend the super senior thing. You're giving them a year, but they're pretty much saying you got to have your scholarships cut back down to 85, which is not fair to the kids and not fair to the coaches. They become the good guys saying, hey, everybody's got a free year. And then we become the bad guys saying, hey, wait a second, you can't stay here. If I kept every super senior next year, let's just say we have 12 next year, seniors now that could be super seniors, if I kept every one of those, there are 0 scholarships for the 2022 class. I don't know if you realize that. That can't happen. And it'll just trickle down. If something doesn't happen, it'll trickle down to the high school level, and there'll be a lot of sad faces there.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, how do you even approach your recruiting right now if you don't know? I mean, every year the numbers move of scholarships you have available, but if you could potentially have like 4, I mean, how do you approach it right now?
You tell me. Maybe I'll bring you to be my advisor. It's hard. I mean, you don't know. I mean, let's take, for example, like Deslin's a senior next year. He could be a super senior. Is Deslin going to stay or is he going to go? I don't know. So there's a lot of questions there's going to be a lot of, I don't know. And you're trying to keep your 22 class going, and we're going to just keep recruiting and going. However, there's some issues there that need to be resolved through the NCAA and the conference offices.
Pat, is that something you brought up with Heather? Because I know she's on the D1 council.
Yeah, we've talked to the ACC. We've talked to to commissioner, new commissioner. We've talked at every level, but it's something we're trying to iron out. And there's different proposals. The ACC's got a proposal. The SEC's got a proposal. So we're just trying to figure out which one we're going to do and if we're going to do anything at all.
How many guys?
Coach, it looks like
Pat. How many guys can you bring to camp? Is there a new limit?
No, don't really know right now. I mean, don't really know. Usually there's 105. I would imagine it's going to be it's probably going to be your Title IX number, which for us it's 115. That's what we brought last year. I would say that probably stay the same. Again, the NCAA and the conferences gave that to us just because, you may have guys out, and what they didn't want to bring is 105 in, and then school starts, bring another 10 in and have them, mess with the bubble. So I would imagine that's probably going to we'll be able to bring in as many as we're allowed to bring in.
Since COVID looks like by the end of summer, we may be in a better place, Coach. Hopefully the season will play out with the schedule that's posted. And since last year was so atypical, have you changed the way any philosophies going into this year?
Not really. I mean, we're just hoping to have a normal year, Larry. I mean, obviously we've changed a lot of different things fundamentally, tactically and technically, as far as what we're doing as a football team, schematically speaking. But, I'm not sure what you're talking about on the outside, but, we're staying status quo and trying to get better as a football team. I don't know if I answered your question, Larry, but I'm not sure I understood it either.
Well,
go ahead, Larry.
Let me just clarify that, because last year was so atypical, and you still have a bit of a hybrid with these super seniors. Assuming your schedule stays the same, when you look at last year, I'm just curious how you take what you saw and plan and strategize for the new season. What may have popped out to you last year that you may change going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think our plan last year was good as far as how we practiced. I'm guessing you're talking about just how we practiced and the protocols we put in to get what we got done. We're hoping it loosens up and things are better as we get through spring ball and get into fall camp.
Pat, with these spring practices, are you guys going full team sessions, staggered times, pods of 25, 50, 100? How are you guys handling that?
We're going. Yeah, we're going. We're going to play football. We're still testing, as you know, and our kids, kids have done a great job. We're gonna practice like we normally do. We went in pods last year, maybe 2 days out of all our preseason days. We did it just in case. We changed some things. Maybe Larry's talking about. We changed some things just as far as practicing almost two platoon, but all at the same time, and almost servicing each other like you would in high school. So it's an offensive period and then it's a defensive period, and we were just servicing them when our numbers started to get low as the season wore on. When we did have some issues after Georgia Tech, I guess the original Georgia Tech game. So we'll just continue to we're going to continue to play football. I mean, if we can't play out there as a team, we're not going to play. And I feel like our kids are safe. I think they're being smart on campus. They've proven that throughout the this winter session since they got back in mid-January, and we've been fortunate. Our kids are smart and paying attention, and our coaches have done a great job of making sure they're on top of things.
And are you guys testing 3 times a week during the spring still?
We're one time a week right now. We're 1 time a week, and like I said, it's every Wednesday. I'll tell you that, and we came out Wednesday clean again. So just keep moving ahead.
And obviously it stinks for Malik. But do you feel like, what do you feel about the depth of your running backs? And do you feel like you gained some traction with Vince, especially at the end of last year?
We really do. When you talk, if we get into some football, and really what we're looking for is Vince Davis is our starting tailback. I think last year at this time I said we got some guys. Vince is our starting tailback, and everybody behind him is going after Vince. I mean, Vince is the guy. He's proven that, in the run game, in the pass protection game, in the passing game out of the backfield. So Vince is the guy to beat right now, and And, you got super senior A.J. Davis that we expect to get a lot more out than we did last year, and we'll see. And Izzy and the rest of those guys in that backfield, Daniel Carter.
Pat, bringing in Brennan Marion, what were your impressions of the go-go offense and everything that kind of he has developed in his career so far in terms of the offensive scheme and mindset?
I don't know what the go-go offense is. Okay, so that's the first thing. We don't talk. Again, we hired a receiver coach. We didn't hire an offense coordinator. Obviously, we love him because he's got other things he's done. So when we get into game planning, when we get into spring ball, as you start to say formationally, hey, this is what we used to do. So that'll come as we grow as a staff offensively. But obviously, he's very creative in what he does. And I think it's the two backs in the backfield, but I'm not sure. I've never asked him. It's not something we hired him to run a go-go offense. I don't know what that is, but it might be the two-back sets, some of the stuff they did at William & Mary. And they weren't doing it in Hawaii. I mean, I've watched a ton of tape on Hawaii before we hired him. But again, he's very creative. That's the great thing is he's got a creative mind. He's going to help us, kind of move our offense along.
It seems like every year, the last season and the way the last season ended sort of sets a tone for the coming off season and maybe even into the next year. Is that the case this year because of how just sort of abnormal last season was? I mean, I don't want to say, does last season even count in your head? But I mean, kind of, just because it was so different. It was, so unique. There were so many challenges. I mean, you didn't even play in a bowl game. You're just like, we're done. We're not going to play any more this season. I mean, does it, I don't know. Did it, I don't know. Is there anything that carries over from that year, or is it just sort of a blank space for you a little bit?
It's a lot, Chris, that carries over. I mean, you played 11 football games. You had an opportunity to play 12 when you turned it down. When you look at, we won 3 of the last 4. I think that's what you got to carry with you. We played some good teams at the end of the year, including a playoff team in Clemson. You played 2 of your 5 losses are playoff teams, which I don't know how many teams played 2 playoff teams in the regular season. But we certainly did. And so there's a lot of carryover from what we did last year. You look at the last game of the season being a win and, down at Georgia Tech, I think when you look at what we did, both offensively and defensively and special teams wise, there's some great things. And again, I think we were playing our best football as the season ended. And I think that's what we carry over is what we were doing at the end of the season. Let's carry it over and let's get even better, in the development. And again, I think the development is key, guys. I mean, we missed a ton of football, guys. I don't know if our kids even realize it, but I know our coaches realize how much, whether it's an offensive lineman, a Jason Collier, who moved from tight end, he's 340 pounds right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing him get coached this spring because he didn't have a spring. He didn't have a time to develop. And, whether it's, developing a backup quarterback or developing an offensive line or a young defensive line, the development time is essential. And if you don't have it, you're losing a lot.
Coach, you mentioned, go ahead, Kelly.
I was just going to say, I know you said we're not out of the woods yet, but is this like the most optimistic you felt in a while that things are, you don't have to worry as much about everything you had to deal with last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot easier as a coach to know, hey, we're going to play, And John asked about, are you going to be in pods, practicing? No, we had 3 lifting groups. Put it this way, we've had 3 lifting groups all winter. So it's not like we were lifting in groups of 10. I've heard places across the country shut the weight room down. Our guys haven't. So we're obviously keeping this facility clean. We're making sure our kids are doing the protocols. They're grab and go lunch and get out of here. And they've been safe when they've been back in Oakland. So, I feel much better. I don't think there's questions sitting here, last year about this time we were closing things down. I think maybe today, I know it was a Friday, this building was shut down and we were back home. I feel much better that there's going to be a season. We know how to do it. We hope it's not as bad as what it was. We hope everybody gets a vaccine. I think people are crazy if they don't get the vaccine. We're going to encourage every one of our kids when that opportunity does arise, that they get a vaccine and try to make it even better. And, I think that's going to be the key.
Pat, do you guys envision having a spring game? And if so, how might that look?
We hope it looks just like it normally does. I hope you guys are sitting in the stands or the box, wherever you are. That's the anticipation that we do have a spring. We're going to get to Heinz Field 3 times this spring. We're already set that up for Saturday scrimmages. So if you guys want to sit outside and peek through the gates, you can do that. But that final spring game, we're hoping and praying that we're able to have fans for that game.
Do we have 1 or 2 more questions before we get to our player representatives?
Where do you see Marcus Minor fitting in? I know he's played both guard and tackle in his career.
Yeah, we'll start him off at guard right now. He's a big, athletic, smart kid, and we're excited about how he's fit in with our football team right now.
Pat, wanted to ask about the secondary. I know you guys are going to see a lot of young guys stepping up who were filling in at the end of last year. But you had Damari Mathis who didn't get to play last year. How's he looked? Have you talked to him as far as getting ready for this season?
Yeah, we talk to him every day. Damari looks great. He's ready to go, and I think he's excited. He had I guess they had 7-on-7. We're not in there, but the rumors from the guys were that. The first time he tackled somebody. So I think he's excited. He's ready to tackle. They were in shorts and no helmets. He's tackling people in 7-on-7. So he's ready to go. He's 100% healthy. We got to keep him that way. Obviously, a great football player that we missed last year, and we're excited for what he can do this season.
Coach, I can't remember. Have we talked to you since Kenny decided he was coming back?
I don't know. That's such a long time ago. Probably not. I think we tweeted stuff out. Maybe RJ may remember, but that was like one of the best recruiting gets ever. And I was teasing him and Jimmy Morrissey in my office probably before our final game against Georgia Tech down in Atlanta about, like, hey, you guys, Kenny, you wanted that year again. We're going to get you another year. And he was like, yeah, right, coach. As he walked out the door, him and Jimmy are just giggling, kind of like, yeah, coach, that ain't happening. We're out of here. So it was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was gone. And then we had, conversations after that game when he was back in New Jersey. And, I had a lot of conversations with him and Dad and just about what he's doing. And Kenny did a great job of contacting, people across the country. Coach Whipple did a great job of contacting some of his NFL people that he trusted, Bill O'Brien, for example, and just, hey, what do you think? What should Kenny do? And I think, it's a great decision by Kenny. I think he can come back and really, raise his stock and become one of the top quarterbacks drafted next year.
Jerry, did you want the last one?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Pat, I saw the stat yesterday. We have 14 guys coming back on defense who had multiple TFLs. Is that there was a lot of excitement last year because you had some guys who are potential NFL players. Now you have guys who have been productive players and more of them this year. Does that breed more enthusiasm and more encouragement this season?
What those guys did last year, doesn't really matter, Jerry. We'll find out how they develop this year. And, those other guys that might have made plays might have been because of Rashad Weaver and Patrick Jones on one side or the other and DeMar Hamlin on the hash causing a sack because of great coverage. So it's going to take 11 guys for all those guys to make plays again. That 2020 offense or defense was, in the past. And, we'll move forward into 21 and deal with the pieces that we have right now and try to make them better.